Welcome to the Sold Too Early Sports Card Podcast. There have been two major shows in the last 8 days. I'm tired, boss. That's Kai. I'm rebranding to Above Average Cards. Kai, how the hell you doing, man?
I could be better. Could be
I
worse, I guess.
I know you can be doing better. Unfortunately, Kai is dealing with basically food poisoning. So this is our flu game type podcast. Um, I will ask though, you did a fantasy football draft last night. How'd it go?
It went really good. I had the fifth overall pick. It's a dynasty startup draft, and I ended up with Bijan, ETN, Garrett Wilson, Pacheco, Dak. I'm pretty happy.
That team is sick and disgusting. So I think
Yeah,
kind
thanks.
of, kind of. I mean, you teed me up for that one, so I had to do it. But it sounds like that worked out well. Hopefully, you're not the only one who's sick in your friend group, or hopefully you are. I don't know. At least, at least if multiple of your friends are sick, then you go down together. But if it's just you, maybe you're just a punk bitch. I can't really tell, but. Listen, appreciate you trying to make time for this. It's been an interesting time already. Burbank just wrapped up over the last couple of days. I'm staying out here with my wife for a couple extra days as well, a little vacation out of it. Um, the last week of cards, dude, especially in the show scene, is probably the closest we've been to peak 2020, 2021 vibes. I can't say the prices are the exact same for anyone who is not. We're not
Yeah.
buying $2,000 Mac Jones cards anymore, but the fan access was incredible. Burbank was basically the same thing as well. My biggest issue was not getting inventory in time for Burbank because it was a 3 day turnaround for me, and I still crushed it. And it was just like this is a really good time right now to be in cards.
Yeah, it just seems like cards are. I mean, we've talked about it at least a couple times, but it just seems like they're changing hands so fast. People want to buy stuff, people want to sell stuff, people want to trade. Like, it just feels like something's like happening to where people are getting into it. People are excited to go to shows. People are excited to buy online. Like it just feels like a really good time to be doing cards.
I really believe that we are in. I mean, we're obviously in a new era. I don't think prices will get back to those 2020, 2021 prices anytime soon, if in the near future. But we've kind of settled into a new normal in a way. Um, and these shows are getting packed, dude. Burbank, which also rebranded now to West Coast Card Show, on Saturday, before people even got into the show floor, was discussing how the show had already outsold the previous Burbank. So when they did it last year in Anaheim, the ticket sales for Friday and I guess the beginning of Saturday had already exceeded the 3 days. So, for people saying the hobby's alive and all this stuff that I can't stand per se, you know what? The results are showing Burbank is growing. I'm excited to see how they rebrand and what they do for, next year. It's going to be two shows again, as far as I'm aware, in Orange County, and then obviously here in Anaheim, which might be Orange County as well. And it will be I'll be both. I'm excited.
I don't know if you have shared your opinion with me or the group chat on this, but I've talked to a few people and they all said that Burbank and Fanatics Fest was better for them than the National, or like close to be like pretty similar or better.
I think that's fair to say. The National was the National had a lot of things going for it, and I've said this unofficially. I've said it officially. The National's looking for help. I've been in conversations with them, and I can just say this: I don't care anymore. Like if I get in trouble, so be it. But you know what? Frankly, this is a good thing for sports cards. The Nationals reached out to me. I was very negative about the show. I think there were a lot of issues that, frankly, should and could have been addressed. And you know what? I'm trying to help in any way, shape, or form. Kind of bring the next generation in, have conversations with the powers that be, and kind of make sure that dude, if I can help make this show 1% better, that's really all I want. I really just want it to be a more positive experience for, Kat, you're 22, 23, I'm 27. We are this next generation of people that are going to be doing shows hopefully for 30, 40, 50 years, and we want to do that. And you can't ignore the younger generation anymore. And I think that if anything, they're starting to pay more attention online. They're starting to pay more attention to the things that are being discussed because yeah, Fanatics Fest in Burbank were really, really good. And the main appeal of the National is that it's 5 days. Like that is the main deciding factor between that and like a Burbank, a Dallas, a Fanatics Fest. If Burbank was 5 days long, dude, oh my god, like we would not even be having this conversation. It would blow the National out of the water. Um, which is why kind of when I look at shows overall, like Dallas is a third or fourth best show in the country, but because it happens so often, like it's 15 to 18 days of shows versus five for the National or six for Burbank or whatever else is going to be the entire year. Like it doesn't actually compare one to one the exact same, but in terms of cost, location, things to do, yeah, Fanatics Fest in Burbank easily trumped Cleveland, Ohio for a 5 day show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think what you talked about with trying to help the national and stuff, I think the main issue there is that they need people that are in the ranges that you kind of talked about to help out. Because really, how I see it is there's like a 15-year-old to like a 30-year-old, and then like a 50-year-old to like a 70-year-old that like they're the ones that are consistently going to the national. I think that 30 through 50-year-old range, which would be like next up and like figuring out the show, like doesn't really exist in my opinion.
Well, not even that. I mean, I walked Burbank and I walked the Fanatics Fest a few times. I didn't, spend every single minute out of the show floors at the table, obviously making deals. What these shows do differently than the National is it cut a lot of the fat. Um, I don't recall really any vendors at Burbank or Fanatics Fest who had yellow top loaders or random memorabilia and like jerseys and like random bullshit that like is cool. There's a collector base for it, but like there was none of that stuff that's been sitting for 20 years, quote unquote, that the National have summer booth for, let's say. Or like the average age of someone who set up at Burbank at Fanatics Fest might be, let's say, 35, where a National would be 45 to 50. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to make sure that's clear. Like I completely understand it, but you can tell that these shows are targeted to younger people. There was no wait list. There was no like, queue you had to join for these shows. If you were able to pay the cost for fan access, which was $3 grand a booth, or have someone who would sell you a table, you got in. Burbank, I can't speak exactly to because we kind of have friends who work there or previously worked there. Like, Lucas Sports Company handles it for me. Like, we still have those good connections. We were always going to get in regardless. So I can't speak for the average person for Burbank. But Fanatics Fest is as simple as, hey, this is the first time we're doing the show. This is the cost. Pay the, $500, $600 for a showcase if you want to set up, or if you're gonna have a booth, it's $3 grand. Go pay for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I wonder if the national ever takes the approach of like just jacking up the price of the booth. I know you talked about maybe like auctioning them or like just some sort of way to like kind of kick out the old people without like kicking them out.
I don't know if that's gonna happen. I mean, there's so much time between now and the next national. I'm not obviously on the decisions. Like I don't get.
Yeah, I mean,
My
we've
thing. My
kind of
thing.
run through like 50 different ideas of how to like fix it, and we don't even really have any idea what's going to happen. So,
No, and you know what? Like they have been very transparent with me on the conversations we've had. I don't claim to have any inside information on how things are going to go just yet, but I do think they're aware. I think they know they have to make some changes. And you know what, dude? Like, there's so many major shows happening that if someone chose to skip the national because they'd rather go to all the Burbanks this year, or go to two Dallases and then a Culture Collision, or hey, I'm just going to do this local show in my area and then travel for this, travel for Burbank for the first time, or West Coast National, whatever. Uh, you can do that, like, and you're not missing out anymore. The main difference truly is just those 5 days versus three. I would not be shocked if we're sitting here in, a couple years and Fanatics Fest becomes a 5 day long show.
yeah. So, I guess the rest of the year, I think you probably have what, like three more shows you're going to, two or three more main ones?
Yeah, so my major shows now are September Dallas, which you'll be set up with me. I'm very excited for that. That'll be a lot of fun. I think that there was such a major push to sell football this show. I would be very surprised if it doesn't continue in Dallas. That's right, as week one starts. I think a lot of the smart collectors have moved on per se from football and are now either targeting a Pal Caro or anything young and cheap in basketball where they can flip to the next person. Um, and baseball the last week has been the slowest thing to move by far. Dude, I have moved more soccer cards in the last week than anything else by far. It's so interesting to me um, that keeps happening. Like, just go figure. Um, but with September Dallas, I expect football to move. I will likely be going to Chicago for the spectacular in uh, mid-November. I think it's like the week or two before November Dallas. I know you're gonna do Orlando for the Fanatics Fest. I'm excited for you. I'm a little jealous. I think there is a good possibility that it does take away from November Dallas. I think there might be a lot of people who do this full time who do like Dallas Thursday, Friday, and then fly to Orlando for like Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. You know what I was looking at for this Dallas? It's gonna be kind of cool. There's a football game on Thursday night and Friday night.
Who's playing Friday night?
Friday's the Brazil game. It's the Eagles against someone.
Oh, like the Packers or some shit.
Yeah, the Packers. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing for the card show. That might actually like attract a lot of people to like leave.
I don't think
So
people
that might be
leave for that. I mean, it's at nighttime.
yeah. I mean, I guess it depends on when the show ends. I know it's like generally like 7, 8 o'clock at night, but like I'd be lying if I remember off the top of my head. That could be kind of tough with if the show ends at 6 or 7 and the game starts at 5. Let's just say. Like I think
That's
people
true.
would be
I don't know
leaving.
what time the game starts. It's in Brazil. Let me look it up.
Yeah, go check that. I'm pulling up questions
It's
anyway
at
for.
8:15, so I feel like it'll be fine. Oh, can you hear me,
Yeah,
Dave?
I'm trying to look at questions. I can hear you. Sorry, I was trying to look at questions for the podcast, but
Okay.
using our phone is a little different this time, so apologies there. Um, yeah, that'll be an interesting time. I really I've said this for over a year now. We have recordings of this. Like football is the toughest sport to hold cards into the season for, especially with quarterbacks. If they're running on the field week one and you still own a Justin Fields NTRPA as the example I used last year,
Dude,
or
have you seen what like those sell for still?
are they over like $1,500?
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure one just sold for like $2,000 on eBay at auction.
Dude, people are so fucking stupid. You can't fix stupid. Like he's not gonna be the starter for Pittsburgh. And if he is, it's probably gonna be like week 4, week 5, week 6, when the cards are gonna drop anyway. Like
It makes no sense.
you just can't fix stupid. Like I just don't. The people who have the most amount of money in sports cards, frankly, know the least about sports,
Yeah.
and I will live and die by that mentality because he just is not an NFL quarterback at this moment in time. What I do think will happen, though, same thing with Mac Jones, which we'll call it again. They'll get 1 year deal, 2 year deals with like a team like the Giants, the Rams, maybe the Raiders if they just move on from Minshew and like AOC, whatever, and like they'll be competing against a rookie quarterback next year, and it could happen like Baker Mayfield again, where like you find your possible like longer term quarterback. It probably won't, but stupid idiots will keep buying him. So fuck it. Mac Jones goes into New York next year, let's say, or Justin Fields, and they draft like a Shadur Sanders type. Okay, well, dumb idiots are gonna buy their cards, buy them cheap.
You see the
Sell them
hype
later.
around the Eagles, like third string guy, like McKee or whatever.
What happened with Tanner
I
McGee?
mean, he
What
just
happened with
played
him?
well in a preseason game. His like cracked ices are selling for like $500 now.
Dude, listen, I can't fix stupid people. Like I'm just hoping that Mason Rudolph gets into a couple games this year, and I just
Did
laugh
he
my
not
ass
play in
off.
the preseason?
No, he did. He played fine. Like he
Oh,
played
I just didn't
exactly how
hear
you.
anything about it.
Yeah, he played exactly as you think he would. He went for like 11 for 15, like 80 yards. Like looked perfectly fine as like a backup quarterback, low end starter, and like that's what he is. Um, so it's whatever. Like I do expect him to play a couple games this year, and then Lane and I will sell our bunch of cards and just laugh. And if not, then he could also be a guy to just go to a random place and compete for a starting job if like they draft a rookie or he's a bridge guy or whatever. Like, dude, Sam Darnold is the NFL starting quarterback this year.
Yeah.
You know,
You know who's kind
so
of
like,
like a
what's that?
sneaky guy I want to buy a card of is Josh Dobbs.
I don't
He's
know.
the
Like,
49ers backup. Like if Purdy gets hurt, like I feel like he could very easily like be fine with them.
I mean, the thing about Josh Dobbs is like he's good for like 2 to 3 games. Like from an actual, football perspective, how dare I talk about real football on a sports car podcast? Like teams adjust to him pretty quickly. It feels like the craziest thing would be if he played so well, and then you just dumped his cards, which could easily happen. You never know anymore in our industry.
It feels like the 49ers would be like the one team where you don't really have to be good. Like you can just throw screens.
I mean, listen, they keep Ayuk, which
Yeah.
it feels like they might. I don't know what's going to happen
There's a
there.
lot of like stuff like that going on. CD Lamb, Ayuk, Jamar Chase, like
Trent
I don't know.
Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of craziness going on right before the season, but yeah, dude, this is a pretty good time to be a sports fan in general. Obviously, amazing time to be a sports card collector, investor, flipper, whatever. Um, I hate the word investor for sports cards. Like, unless you're buying like actual rare shit, like 98% of people who say they're investing in sports cards are basically just gonna lose money on the short term because they're buying like obviously super modern or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, this is almost the end of the busy season. I kind of am looking forward to like a month from now, like just home, chilling, new cards, cash, buying them on again. Like these shows are great. I love them. It's a lot of fun and energy, but like, dude, it's a pretty taxing time. And those who do this full time, like, I get it, but like, what do you do as a human being, like outside of cards? Like, what else are you like doing? Because you're clearly not like enjoying like your weekends or whatever. Like the last couple of weeks of shows been July 4th, Dallas. You went to Dallas over like doing stuff like friends and family. Okay. Why? Why? Um, National, obviously, this, Dallas in a couple of weeks, Culture Collision. I think San Diego and Nashville had a couple of shows too. Like those are, kind of major ish. I remember when people tried to make San Diego like the next big thing, and it
Is
kind of.
Sacramento a thing still?
I think Sacramento's a card show. I mean, I,
I
I
remember it
can't
went
speak
really
to.
well the first time. I just don't know if they're doing another one.
I mean, there's Denver as well. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many things that go on. Like, dude, there's a show in New Jersey, at the. Oh God, I keep forgetting the mall name of it. It's not the American Dream Mall. Or actually, I think it is the American Dream Mall. Mall of America is the one in Minnesota, but the American Dream Mall is like the huge one next to MetLife. There's like ice skating rink, or not ice skating rink.
They played
Uh,
didn't they play the arena football game there?
they did. Dude, the mall is
I
wild. There's like
saw that. That
amusement
was
parks are
crazy.
there, but there's like a card show too. That's like kind of a card show, but also like not. It's like a jack of all trades type thing. That's every month. I don't even like put it on my radar anymore because it's just like there's a balance to it, dude. That's the one thing that I cannot get over. Like if I ever did cards full time, I would just not. I wouldn't have a balance anymore, and I kind of like the ability to turn my brain off or like not play the games that we have to do. Um, and frankly, a lot of the industry is kind of scummy. Like I'm sure
Yeah,
you saw the thing with Nick Sack and Sports
I
where
know
he
that
got kind
was.
of fucked.
I feel like I messaged him like first. I saw that and was like mind blown that because he almost made it seem like it was like okay, like it was kind of his fault. But I feel like that's not even relatively close to his fault.
So, for anyone who is not aware of what happened, Sack and Sports, Nick, who was on our podcast a week or two ago, actually, at this rate. I love Nick. Nick's a great guy. Nick
He's such
really
a
does
good
mean well.
person. Yeah.
Like,
You know what's
actually,
hilarious?
like,
Sorry to cut you off. He literally just responded to me 1 minute ago. Keep going
that's
though.
funny. Nick's a great guy. Big fan of him, obviously. He had bought a Brock Purdy NCRPA at Burbank. It was slabbed authentic. The guy had ticket of $7,500. I don't know what he offered. I don't know what the deal was. I believe he just bought it outright. But the sticker was in the bottom right corner. Okay, whatever it is, what it is. After buying the card, whatever, he makes the deal happen. He looks at the card, and the bottom right corner is completely fucking crushed. On the other side, it was even worse. Card is horribly damaged. The sticker was placed purposely to hide the damage, So that someone who didn't know any better or was a little bit gullible made a mistake. Nick obviously did. I think he'd be the first person to admit that. Um, and he got fucked like on this card. He probably lost, $2 grand, $1,500, whatever, and that's a lot of money. I don't care who you are; like, that's a lot of money to lose. What was interesting though is I tried to actually get the card from him. I tried to offer him a deal to like, hey, I have this Derek Jeter Transcendent 101. I was offered $5,500 on eBay for it. This is kind of like a little bit of a brick for me right now. Obviously, if you want to like just cut the loss, move on, like let's talk a deal. And like, hey, you fucked up here on the Purdy. You know, if you don't want to stare at it, you're annoyed at yourself. Move on, take this item, and we can talk. And I don't know if he moved it yet or not, but like he's gonna obviously take a haircut on it. He did confront the dealer after. He got like $1,500 back in like trade, which is pretty scummy anyway. But like, whatever. It's just like our industry fucking sucks, dude. It's so bad sometimes. And you go for it.
Oh, I was trying to look. I could have swore that card ran on eBay, but
It did. It went
ironic.
for 45.
Well, I am looking at it now. That's a different fucked up version of the card. That's not the same card.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Oh wait. Sorry, you're totally
It's
right. Yeah, that is it. For some reason, I was.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It went for 4,500 because I could have swore I saw it at auction like a week or two ago.
It ran pretty recently, so
Yeah.
it makes sense. Um, yeah, dude, our industry sucks. People are just the fucking worst. There's other situations that I saw that obviously I'm not going to share on the podcast. We talked about it beforehand. Like people just are the most scummy motherfuckers in our industry, and they'll cut your throat for 5%. The people who are your friends and your homies are really not. We're so financially motivated and like only like focusing on that one thing that, dude, your friends, quote unquote, aren't your friends. Like they're business partners. If you don't provide value to them financially, they're gonna move on without you, and you can see
Yeah.
that clear as day. In most situations, and it's really kind of shitty. But just have to acknowledge it and move on. Like you're not going to change it, so just got to move on with it.
Yeah. I guess on a brighter note, I am looking forward to setting up in Dallas with you. I think it's going to be kind of nice because I feel like a lot of people that like you have gone to like these probably three major shows in the last month at this point. Like I feel like you're almost kind of getting burnt out in a way, maybe.
Yeah,
So
there was actually a question
yeah,
about that. Am I feeling burnt out? I wouldn't say I would be if I had not like taken this extra part of like a vacation, like had a little bit of downtime in between this and Dallas. If Dallas was this week, if I was flying back on Wednesday to Dallas, or let me try again. If I was flying home, I was in New Jersey right now. We were recording this, and I left Wednesday for Dallas, like 2 days home, and stay until Saturday night. I'd be burnt out, like fully. I think at least now with like this vacation kind of in between, like I'm feeling pretty good. But I'd be lying if it's not getting closer to that point because, like, I don't know, man. There's a lot more things in my life they care about besides sports cards. Like, people who do this full time, like, can only focus on that one thing per se. Like, they have to make this deal. They have to flip that card. They have to grind. And man, I gotta grind, get bang heavy. You got any kabooms for me? Like, it's just like it's fine. Like, if that's how you want to like choose to spend your time and money, go for it. I'm not gonna tease you too much, but you know, there is a point where there is no more of joy in it. Like then you're just working because you have to. And yeah, if I really didn't want to set up in Dallas in 2 weeks, I would just be like, hey, guy, I'm not setting up. Here's the table. Here's what you have to do to keep it in my name. And it would be okay. I debated not coming to Burbank because I was a little like tired. Like I just want to have vacation out of it. I'm happy I did. I'm happy I, went to the show and set up. My goal was to frankly just make my money back for the trip overall. And I made money instead. Oh no, oopsie. Um, but I didn't really prep as hard as I usually do for these shows because it was such a tight turnaround. It was just not going to be fun if I had to. So, I did what I had to do to balance it out.
yeah. I wonder if that'll lead to anyone that normally goes skipping Dallas this time.
I think you can skip Dallas. If you don't have football anymore, you can skip Dallas. I think it's
Yeah.
gonna be a really, really good selling show for basketball. I think a lot of football is gonna hit the market and gonna drive down the price actually because people are hopefully getting a little bit smarter. But dude, if one of these young quarterbacks gets hurt, early in the season, week 1 or week 2,
CJ Stroud.
people, if CJ Stroud got hurt, people might be throwing themselves off the Marriott in Dallas.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying do it, but if it happened, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, him or Love would be
Oh my God.
quite the catastrophe. Because Love could happen live at the show.
If if Love got, this is not what I'm hoping for, obviously, but if Love got hurt on Friday during the game, week 1, people would probably start crying, and it'd be kind of interesting. Like I'm not hoping for it, but if it did,
It'd be a great opportunity to buy some Jordan Love cards.
I mean, listen, I think September Dallas could be interesting for buying baseball. Like no one fucking actually cares about baseball. The influencers and hype beast type things like cannot. I don't think they have the attention span to watch a game of baseball. I would love to see someone, an influencer, go to a game of baseball and not complain.
Yeah, I
I
think
don't think they get.
baseball could be a really good buy too. I have been picking up some kind of like rare Bowman Chrome stuff. It seems like this year people, I don't know if you follow this like much, but it feels like people are selling off Bowman like really early this year. Usually it's kind of in the winter time, I would say, like maybe October, November, that it kind of starts getting auctioned and stuff. But it feels really early this year.
I just don't think people care. Like
Yeah.
it's so interesting that like the baseball market generally, not everything obviously, but generally is like Bowman Chrome, Topps Chrome, and then Dynasty. Dynasty will always sell well. I'll buy Dynasty any time of year, obviously, but it's really kind of those 3 products that hold up. Like, sure, can I go get a Miguel Cabrera Tier 1 auto? And like, oh yeah, it's kind of cool. If I buy it for $80 and sell it for 95, like, oh, that's neat. It's a cool card, but like, it doesn't really move the needle. Like, baseball has not moved at all in the last week or 2 for me, which is completely normal. I expected that. But football, basketball, and soccer has easily trumped it to the point where I think I have more baseball than anything else. And that's not saying too much right now.
I will say that I haven't owned any of these, but I will say that Ellie, Merrill, and Holiday, like rookie autos, like Topps Chrome and stuff, those have been doing really well on eBay, like price wise.
Yeah, I'm not really shocked by that. I mean, I'm a pretty big hater on Ellie long term in his career.
Oh my.
I just don't think he's gonna age very well. Like I just see him kind of like the second he loses a step or like just doesn't learn play discipline properly, like he's just gonna like kind of fall off a bit. Like or he'll just be just their guy. Like this is the time to sell. Ask, dude. I would love to know the last time anyone who listens to this podcast watched a Cincinnati Reds game. Do you know
Yeah.
their record? I don't fucking know their record. I have no clue what they're doing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like we spend so much money on these players. I cannot tell you the last time I watched a Padres game. I can't tell you the last time I watched an Orioles game. I know the Orioles are doing well because I'm a Yankee fan, but like we invest so many thousands of dollars into these players. We hope are pretty good, but like if you take a step back from it, my favorite example to use is someone like a Curtis Granderson or like Alfonso Soriano, players who have like pretty phenomenal careers who were notable, played in big markets, and they sell for shit now. Like no one fucking cares about Alfonso Soriano. Like
Yeah.
you'd be very lucky if Elio Cruz has a career like Alfonso Soriano or what's another like decent example?
I mean,
Like
dude,
Miguel Tejada.
you can get a Derek Jeter auto for the same price as a Ellie base Topps Chrome auto.
Well, Jeter's different because he fucking signs everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, like,
it's once you start to have that conversation or use that logic, people just get butthurt. Like,
yeah.
oh man, I wish what's a decent example? Man, if only they were as good as Miguel Tejada or Carlos
Troy
Beltran or
Tulowitzki's like a $5
Troy.
rookie auto.
Oh god, yeah. Well, Chula would have been a Hall of Famer had he not gotten hurt.
Yeah.
Or oh man, Miguel Tejada, if he didn't use drugs like steroids or
Like
whatever.
Brandon Crawford's probably like a Hall of Very Good, and he doesn't sell for anything.
Well, yeah. How dare you? Like this 19-year-old player could be anything. He could be the next Derek Jeter, and then he doesn't make majors or
Yeah.
very mid. Like no, like I can't. I can't deal with Bowman like longer term. Like, yeah, I'll tell you the 17-year-old Cuban kid will be the next big thing if you pay me more than I paid for it. Yeah, sure. Whatever you say,
I'll
dude.
guarantee you he's good.
Yeah. For $1,500, you can tell me whatever you want to. But like, this is your problem now. Good luck.
Yeah.
We're in an interesting spot, dude, as we generally seem to be. I feel the same way about. I'm curious to see in a couple of years how we start reacting as like Burrow, Herbert, Allen, like those guys start to like kind of not exit their primes, but like start to leave, kind of like, oh, you didn't win an MVP, or oh, you didn't win a Super Bowl yet. You're probably not gonna be a Hall of Famer. Let's just move you into the next category of players.
Yeah.
Oh hey, Tony Romo. Oh hey, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
they're all going to end up, I don't know about all, but I would imagine most of them end up being like Phillip Rivers, like
yeah.
Matthew Stafford's. He won one, but that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like these people cannot like comprehend logic and like think critically, but yeah, passing stats and quarterback performances are much higher than they were in the old days of like the early 2000s and
The old
middle
days.
2000s.
That's
The
funny.
the old days when standard definition was a thing.
When there was no
And
PPR.
yeah, when there was no PPR and NFL Red Zone was not out yet, which oh god, what a terrifying day that was before Red Zone.
I agree with what
No,
you said last episode, though, about I think that the drop off is coming maybe after this
it's
season with those prices.
it is 100% coming like a fucking freight train, dude. Like especially if if none of those players make the Super Bowl, if the Chargers are mid again, if Burrow got hurt, if Allen continues to disappoint in the playoffs, if Jordan Love regresses, which is entirely possible, and like it's the Chiefs versus 49ers
The
wouldn't shock
Falcons.
me. Yeah, sure, of course. If it's Chiefs versus the Eagles or
Oh,
Chiefs
okay.
versus like who's a team in the NFC with like a quarterback people don't invest? And I guess the Falcons would be a funny example,
That's
but
a good
like
example.
who else is like an NFC team that like people just do not buy the quarterbacks of?
I don't know. The
The cat,
Seahawks.
the Seahawks would be funny. The Cowboys would be even funnier.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen. But let's just say the NFC has a team that like people don't buy as quarterbacks because like they're either a little bit older or
The
whatever.
Vikings.
Oh my god, the Vikings make the Super Bowl after. The point is, like this ship, I think will basically sail for the Herbert market, the
Well, you
Allen
can almost
market.
guarantee it because, I mean, at least for some of them, I mean, I would think it's nearly a pure lock unless he gets hurt that Mahomes or maybe Lamar is from the AFC and that takes out Burrow, Herbert, Josh Allen. I mean, that's only three already that are basically guaranteed to not make it.
I know, and then NFC is, I mean, like Jalen Hurts doesn't sell like very
Yeah.
well
I
at
mean, he
all.
sells. He just doesn't like. I think people are kind of starting to see through the fact that, like, it's not fantasy football. Like, he's not really that actually good at throwing the football. Like,
I think Hurts is pretty good. I mean, once again, I'm a Giants fan. Like, I respect Jalen Hurts.
well,
He's
you have a low bar to reach.
that is a we have the lowest bar. I fucking hate Daniel Jones
Drew
so
Lock's about
much.
to be taking meaningful snaps for you guys. Oh, you're muted, Dave.
That happened on a podcast before where I have to like tell someone I call them back. Yeah, dude, I want Tommy DeVito to start.
Do you think he's better than Lock?
Um,
I don't.
no, but I was a big fan of the Tommy Cutler memes,
Is he making
and
the
like
roster for sure?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure he's going to.
I feel like you guys need to tank it.
Dude, we Giants have been making mistakes since they drafted Saquon.
That
Like
wasn't a mistake, dude. He was the best
no,
running back in the league for like 3 years.
yes, but we were not ready. We were not ready for him, and they should have drafted like Quentin Nelson or traded back or whatever.
Didn't you guys make the
Uh,
playoffs like a year or two after that?
we made the playoffs as recently as 2022. So
Yeah.
we signed Jones to the extension, and then he threw like 2 touchdowns last
Because you
year.
still had Eli when you drafted Saquon, no?
Yes, the logic was that like Saquon is this missing piece for this team, but he wasn't because the Giants were not very good. And frankly, they should have kind of realized that Eli was basically cooked and
And then
started to prep for the
Odell
future.
left, right?
Yeah, and then I think Odell was already gone by that point. Actually, maybe actually, you know what? Maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was after Saquon's rookie year. We moved on from Odell, but the point still is like the Giants have just been the most dysfunctional. The Giants have been the most dysfunctional franchise in the last decade, basically. I think they have a worse winning percentage than like everyone but like the Jets and like the Browns. So
Yeah.
it's quite a low bar. I just want a decent quarterback, dude. Like I'll settle for anything.
See, that's why for me, it's like everyone kind of like makes fun of it, but I see no problem with drafting Penix after we signed Kirk. I don't want to go through purgatory again.
No, the issue is that like apparently Kirk Cousins was not informed that that's what you were going to do.
Yeah, well, he has to get over it. Be a big boy.
I mean, the contract basically means that Penix will be starting in his 4th year, which not for nothing, as we keep saying, I want to buy his cards. Like I do. I think he could be quite good. And if not, it doesn't matter because the second he's named the starter in 2026, you just kind of move on and just sell his cards immediately and buy back later.
Yeah.
But
Dave actually has to work today.
No, I don't have to work. I was going to answer a text, but I guess every time I try to do that, it cuts me off the camera so you can see when I'm doing stuff. Anything else that we should talk through? I know we talked about Burbank for a bit. We talked Dallas. I do think there's a major drop off coming in sports cards in general in like October, November, like especially after like these shows start to wrap up for the year. We're gonna be sitting here saying car prices are down. Why are car prices down? The cameras come out, influencers like, hey, the market is down. Are we at
Time
the
to
bottom
buy
again? Yeah, are we at the bottom again? Do we have to buy? I don't think people really understand how cylindrical this market is. Like it is so easy to predict shit. Like I want to be 2 sports ahead at any given moment. So I'm gonna buy baseball in like September, October and just kind of like wait for I guess like dude, honestly December, January at this rate, because if these cycles continue to stay about the same, I want to sell either right as spring training begins or like halfway through if like one of those players stops popping off and just move on and laugh. And frankly, I might start buying football in like November because it'll start going down anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting to me. Like you just have to be like a little bit ahead of time. Like if you can put money away, prices keep rising on the dumb quarterbacks. So like,
well, I know most people who bought Jordan Love and did well on him bought him when he was bad in the middle of the season, and then they held him for 6 months or whatever, and they're back to doubling their money now.
Yeah, which is, dude, I'm not knocking that. I'm knocking if you're like saying this guy's the future quarterback of the face of the league. Buy. Well, okay, if you think that, why are you?
Yeah, why are you not buying them?
Yeah, for real. Like, I just understand that our market's dumb and like high percent production, all that good stuff. I'm curious to see like, what's do we have NT football yet? I've not paid attention.
For no.
Why?
I'm not sure. I think I would assume it comes out decently soon. I don't know when though.
What do you think the first Anthony Richardson NTRPA does? 10.99 hits eBay.
Well, the problem is if he's not great, it's not going to do that well.
And then flawless after that as well.
Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, let's say he's just like average. I would say it's probably like a $5,000 card.
that seems cheap, but also like I just don't think he's that.
That's
good.
like if he plays like okay, like not good or bad.
Yeah, whoever the Colts backup quarterback is, probably go buy a couple of them. Just
The
in case.
Colts backup is
Is it Joe Flacco still?
they have yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Fuck, never mind. All right, sorry. Oops. Don't follow me for investment advice. I don't know shit. All right, I think it's everything I have. Kai, anything else you want to touch on?
I'm good.
All right, guys. We
Yeah.
have a shorter episode today. Kai's obviously a little bit of food poisoning. I am not in my studio. Next week, though, we'll be back. We'll try to get a guest on. What's funny is there were a couple people I talked to here at the show who do want to be on, which is super interesting. If you want to be on the podcast, just tell me. I'm not gonna reach out to you. Have you seen my DMs? I don't reach out to anyone first. So you gotta kind of like, corner me and make me tell you to be on the podcast. So thank you
Cool.
guys for watching, listening. Next week we'll drag someone on here.
All right.